Hi everyone, Hannah here. For those who are new in the group, I'm a business strategy coach for yoga teachers and wellness coaches, and I'm here today with Melissa Albarran from Yoga Alliance Professionals UK. Melissa is the marketing and PR specialist for Yoga Alliance Professionals. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, yes, I'm Melissa. I work for Yoga Alliance Professionals, particularly in the marketing and PR side of things. So that involves a lot of kind of content writing and reaching out to different brands and things like that within the yoga community.
Wow, fantastic. So I came across Melissa's work, actually, one of her articles, which was titled, Is Now the Time Yoga Teachers Need to Admit Money Matters? And we're going to get to that in a sec. But before we start, obviously the times we are in is not normal, I guess. And what we have just experienced over the last few months has kind of pushed or even forced some yoga teachers to totally adapt and find new ways to continue serving their clients. And that means adapting and having to navigate through the online space where perhaps they were not doing before. How has this impacted members? What have you been hearing from your community?
Yeah, I think, it's had a huge impact, and a lot of people have had to adapt very, very quickly to teaching online, and some have really taken to that and others have really struggled because it's a very stressful time. I have been super almost proud of our members because they've been so resilient and so able to adapt very, very quickly. Some people within a couple of days when the lockdown first hit here. So yeah, it has been difficult, but I think a lot of teachers have taken on the challenge and are actually really thriving with online classes. So yeah, it's been in an odd way positive to see that resilience and that ability to really take the bull by the horns and start something new.
Definitely. And you've mentioned that some of them, a lot of them are being actually quite successful with it. So this is like another thing that everyone's been kind of, is this just a passing trend, or is this something here to stay? Is this something in the long term?
I think that many yoga teachers have, initially were quite weary of online classes, but they have really taken to it. And like you said, they're being quite successful. They are able to connect with students who, either live further afield or students who they used to teach but moved away. So it's given them a whole new independence to, teach these people and also work to their own schedule. And I actually think that it is here to stay. Even after lockdown, people will continue to run online classes because it opens up this whole new audience and independence.
Yeah. Me as a yoga student, for example, I have been attending classes with yoga teachers that I never could actually attend in person. So even for me as a client or as a student, it has been a really good experience. And yeah, and I definitely think that this is something that yoga teachers can look towards in the future and build it up as their career and independence. I think it can bring a lot of empowerment, as you said, working in your own schedule, reaching out to clients that is beyond your little locality, right? We've seen a trend of free classes and donation based, and I called it the Pricing Saga. Not knowing how to charge, when to charge, and a lot of the teachers I have spoken to are like, well, I think I have to do it free or donation based because that's what everyone is doing right now. But for how long can you actually do that? So what's your input on that, and what have you seen?
It is really difficult for yoga teachers. Charging for classes as it is quite difficult because there's no kind of fixed rate. But now we're entering this whole new territory of teaching online. So it creates this additional confusion. From my perspective, by not charging for yoga classes, teachers are giving out their message that their classes aren't worth paying for. That they're not really worth anything. And that just simply isn't the case. Teachers have done all this training, and a lot of teachers are doing additional training to teach online. So that doesn't only damage the individual teacher by, maybe they don't earn as much as they would like, but it also damages the rest of the teaching profession. Because like I said, if someone sees something for free, they're not then going to go, oh, I'll go to someone else and actually pay for the same service. They're likely to choose someone who is free. And that then diminishes all that hard work and investment and, maybe sacrifices that many people have taken to become fully qualified yoga teachers. I think another kind of separate issue to this, for particularly, for people in lockdown, is the idea of kind of when does it stop? There were many teachers who at the beginning of lockdown decided to offer free classes, just out of pure generosity because a lot of people were struggling, and they were kind of adjusting to this new format and thought, well, I'm not totally equipped to do online classes, I'll offer it for free. It then becomes very difficult to start charging. 3 months down the line, where some people thought the lockdown might be 3 weeks, they're still not making money, or that transition to start charging is really, really hard. And how do you tell your students, as of today, you're paying, because they're so used to this free service?
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, that is really important. The value that you put into your own service and the time that goes in. I mean, okay, the training, all the hours of training that you've done, and not only that, before you actually went to do the training, the practice that you have developed over the years to finally reach to that stage where you're ready to take the teacher training certificate. And then but also the preparation of a class, and as you said, having to navigate all the online systems and new platforms requires training in itself, and a lot of time and frustration for many, and trials and errors, I'm sure. So yeah, I think undervaluing the service is not doing any good in the long term for yourself and for the industry. This brings me to our main topic of today, where you have identified, and this is something I was also speaking about, and that's why I was like, we have to talk because we're on the same page. Was like basically teaching for the love of it is just not going to cut it, right? This is really not long-term and sustainable, and it's really getting out of that mindset and being okay with creating a business. Now, if you don't like the word business, call it your profession or call it your service, whatever it is. Living as a modern yoga teacher today, you still need to cover your rent. You need to pay the bills. You also deserve to go on holiday. You also deserve to, to live in abundance just like anybody else. And also continue your professional development, which we will get to in a while. But let's touch on some points of why money matters. Can you elaborate on like your point of view about this?
Yeah, so I think you're right. Business in certain industries anyway seems to have become a bit of like a dirty word. because, you know, yoga traditionally is all about the spiritual side. It's about kind of your personal journey. And it's more of a, personal pursuit that's kind of, you know, separated from like mercantile pursuits or capitalism typically. But, you know, you still need to make a living. You're right on the money, as it were. So yes, you know, we need to reframe this way that we see the word business, and actually think, you know, when teachers start recognizing their value and recognizing the value of their service, so will their students. So to become a yoga teacher, you know, it requires practice, training, education, investment, and it isn't an easy career choice. And it shouldn't be made to feel that way. I think that's, you know, been, you know, a tradition of seeing yoga teaching as kind of like a hobby or a pastime, but that's not the case. Many people, you know, take years and years and years to become yoga teachers, and that shouldn't be underestimated. So when you are pricing your classes, it is worth thinking about not just the 1 hour session, but the time that you spent training and the money that you spent in investing in your training, the knowledge, the hours spent creating a sequence, and your ability to lead, you know, a classroom as well with confidence, because that's not everyone can do that. That's why you're a yoga teacher. And you're right, there are, you know, many yoga teachers who are in the profession simply because they love it and they want to share that passion, and that's one of the most amazing things about yoga. But you do still need money to get by, and, you know, if you're not making money, you know, it doesn't have to be millions, but if you're not making a living, that can cause a great deal of stress and put on additional pressure, which in turn can then, you know, limit the amount of enjoyment you get from teaching. So it's kind of like almost like a circle. If you're not, you know, being able to fund yourself, then your passion for teaching and the love of it will actually, or could potentially, reduce. Exactly.
Definitely. And I mean, let's face it, yoga teachers and the gurus, way before our time, they were also somewhat commoditizing, because people are they're worried they might over commoditize. My word is not coming to me. Commoditize. Commoditize the practice. Back then, they would be fed and homed, and they would be teaching the elite of society and taken care of in that way, you know. But today it's different. Our society is not going to come and give us meals because we're a yoga teacher or a spiritual teacher. We kind of need to fend off for ourselves, right? But then also the point that you mentioned about passion, I mean, this is the reason why you started it. Definitely this has to be there. I mean, if you don't have the passion for it, then you're not going to bother putting the effort into it, for sure. And that's why it sometimes it's a bit mind-boggling, because someone like a yoga teacher has chosen it as a profession, as a career, as a service, but then is not ready to encompass everything around themselves and valuing themselves in the field. So yeah, this is super important. And when the passion dies out, then you're no longer doing it for the love of it, right? You're showing up. You can show up, and your clients will feel that. Your clients will feel the burnout, the frustrations, the stress, the pressure that you have. So yeah, I agree with that, coming back in a circle. That totally makes sense. Another thing I want to talk about, maybe you can share your opinion on this, is, okay, so how do we make money? I'm already teaching, let's say 10 hours or 20 hours of classes, let's say pre-COVID, yeah? teaching 10 hours, 20 hours of classes per week, and I'm going to that studio and that studio plus the commute time. What do? I can't charge more for my class because the other teachers charge X amount. So how do we develop this? How can we move away from exchanging our time for money? Because guys, this is exactly what it is, exchanging time for money. And moving into treating it like a business, treating it like a profession. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think, you know, being able to make money out of yoga teaching, you know, it's not super easy. No one's saying that, but especially now, there are so many different ways to diversify your teaching. So whether that's teaching online, teaching events, you know, workshops, teaching one-to-one classes, or, you know, and also it's important to decide how much money you want to make, or how many students you want. And from there, you can decide how you go about addressing this or tackling that figure or number of students or whatever it may be. You know, if you're specializing in a certain field, use that to your advantage. You know, pregnancy courses or sports courses are you know, are readily available for people to really hone in on that specific subject when it comes to yoga. And then again, you can start charging more because you have that knowledge on that specific subject.
Definitely. And it's important to know as well, I mean, this is in any industry, like you need to stand out, right? I've been in groups where they say like, oh, like is it worth going online, and people comment saying it's oversaturated. Well, isn't also your town also oversaturated with yoga teachers or Pilates teachers? Or, you know, it's so important. You need to stand out and really, as you said, honing in on those skills and those strengths that make you unique, and the reason why people will come to you and not the other teacher. Really, that adds so much value. And specializing and choosing a niche or a type of yoga and becoming an expert in that field is another way of standing out. Cool. We mentioned the importance of continued professional development, and this is another thing that does not come free. I mean, in every profession, CPD, continued professional development, is so important. You need to keep up to date. You need to continue improving your skills, and this will obviously help you craft a better service and give a better service to your clients when you're equipped with a toolbox that has so much potential and impact on people. So as an accreditation body, what is the importance of CPD in your eyes?
Yeah, so further education, further training, CPD, it's extremely important. And again, it kind of comes back to that idea of people not really seeing yoga as a proper profession. So just like any other traditional job, like a banker or a doctor or whatever, you would undertake further training, maybe mentorship schemes, maybe additional qualifications. And the same applies for yoga teaching, you know? You need to, it kind of, again, relates back to the idea of valuing your profession and what you have to offer. It is crucial for all yoga teachers to be able to develop themselves and to be able to create a niche, like you said, you know, to be able to actually understand what your yoga teaching is about. You will need to take on further training and actually kind of through that decide, you know, I really liked that I did not, you know, sit comfortably with me. That's how people grow, and it's what makes the best teachers as well, because in addition to teaching experience, like leading a class, training is, you know, going to help inform your teaching, going to help build your knowledge base and allow you to support a different variety of people and a different audience as well. So yeah, I completely agree. I have to agree that further training is just an essential.
For sure. definitely. I think we learn a lot in the field and practicing and by doing. I'm 100% down with that, because I'm one that really learns through experience. But that doesn't stop me from actually taking courses or mentorships, like you mentioned, to really continue developing my skills. And that's how I can further stand out in the crowd, but also really support and create an impact with the people I work with. And same goes for yoga. With so many out there now, how are you going to stand out in the crowd? So further training definitely is one of them. And this is another reason why money matters, because to serve more people, to serve them better, you need to continue that also.
Yeah, and you're right in that, you know, further training, it doesn't come free, unfortunately. But by investing in yourself, you're kind of encouraging your students to invest in you as well.
Yeah.
So again, it just all goes round in a circle.
Yeah. Definitely. It definitely goes back in a circle. And this is something I see a lot. If you're not willing to invest in yourself, how do you expect your clients to invest in you? So yes, that's a very good point. I would like to end before maybe we can talk about Yoga Alliance professionals and the scope behind the body, and what do you do? What is it about? Why is it important?
Yeah, thank you. So Yoga Alliance Professionals, we are an accreditation and membership organization. So essentially, we aim to support and elevate yoga teachers in the profession. And our main mission is to raise the standards of teaching in yoga. Now, because yoga is essentially unregulated, anyone can call themselves a yoga teacher. So that means they don't have to have done a training course or invested in, in development or anything like that. They can just say, I'm a yoga teacher. But there's no way for, the general public to decipher between someone who has done that training and someone who hasn't. Which that can be, if you are studying under someone who maybe has very poor training or doesn't have any training, that's not only unprofessional, but it's very dangerous. So we kind of provide a way for the public to be able to decipher between the different variety of teachers out there and be able to choose the teacher that is right for them. So a lot of what we do is kind of supporting yoga teachers with resources. We obviously supply them with further training materials and access to courses that they can develop themselves with. But it's really about, in a community of yoga teachers that care about quality teaching and that, want to support one another. And through their teaching, there's this trickle down effect that actually people start practicing better yoga and start learning better yoga as well.
Fantastic. Is the Yoga Alliance profession, so as a yoga teacher, for example, I just got my certification. Are there any like member benefits? Do you become a member as a teacher to be able to get access?
So you register with us and you'll get our logo of accreditation, and that is kind of, like I mentioned earlier, a way for the public to easily, and studios as well, hiring people to easily say, they've done an excellent course, I'd rather be with them than this other person. Mm-hmm. You'll also get access to all our resources, which we regularly update and which have been super useful at the moment with the move to online, because people are really kind of stuck with not knowing different platforms or what microphone to use. So that's been super helpful. You'll also gain access to our community pages and meetups and online forums, and like I mentioned, the further training aspects of things as well. Because we are a not-for-profit, all the money that we make from membership goes right back into the members. So that means that we advertise for our members. So we're encouraging the public to come to our members, and we connect them with new students. that's particularly good for like teacher training courses, because if someone's interested in undertaking a teacher training, so to become a teacher, they can be connected with one of our trainer members and, you know, hopefully register onto the course.
Okay, fantastic. That's good to know. I'm just going to pop onto the group to see if we have any questions coming in, if anyone is watching live. Are these seagulls in the background?
Yeah. I hadn't noticed that actually.
Okay, any questions for those who are watching live? Please drop them in. I'm not seeing any questions coming up. I'm not seeing any questions coming up. But Melissa, do you have anything to add?
I guess just, you know, if you are a yoga teacher and you are struggling with how to price your classes, I would, you know, really recommend taking the time out to think about the training that you've done, the time that you spent, and you know, trying to figure out the value that you do have. I would definitely also recommend visiting our site, as we do have a couple of blogs on like how to charge your classes and taking into consideration the area that you live and the services that you offer. So I would really recommend checking that out. And of course, you can contact us if you have any questions or would like to know a bit more about a certain topic. So yeah.
That's Yoga Alliance Professionals.
.org, yogaallianceprofessionals.org, and then on Facebook, Yoga Alliance Professionals as well.
Cool, fantastic. So this was, I hope this was really interesting. I mean, it was interesting for me, that's for sure. I hope you guys found value from this. We spoke about navigating through the online world and the importance of adding value to your services and to your training and everything that comes in. So really moving away from that concept of charging by the hour, but really looking at it holistically. The hours of practice, the trainings that you've undertaken, the preparation of the class, the time you commute, the added services that you give. So really, like, as Melissa said, sit back and really consider all of these aspects about your training when it comes to pricing and charging for your work, and not feeling shy around charging for money. This is a profession. It's if you've chosen to follow your passion as a career, please treat it as a career, as a profession. And when we use the word business, please let's remove this dirty mind kind of word around business. We're talking about your profession and the need to be sustained through that. We also spoke about all the avenues on how you can move away from this exchanging time for money. We spoke about online courses, events, doing one-to-one coaching, and there are so many avenues and ways you can do this, and so important on how you stand out in the market, choosing a niche, developing your skills, developing your expertise so that you can really stand out and be unique in the crowd of many yoga teachers around the world. So what is it? Why would people come to you? Don't tell me that you have nothing else but the yoga certificate, because definitely you have a set of skills and strengths and experiences that other people are looking for and other people will benefit from. So if you need support, Yoga Alliance professionals are there. And please drop your questions in our Facebook group, Align Digital Marketing for Yoga and Wellness Coaches. I'll be happy to answer you. And if there's anything specific for Melissa or the team, I can also forward later if you're watching the replay. Thank you, Melissa, for joining me.
Thank you so much for inviting me on. It's been lovely.
Same here. Thank you so much and have a good afternoon.
Thanks.
Bye
Bye now.